long haul flight travel essentials. In this video, I'm going to discuss what I bring on a long haul flight to make it more comfortable. This is Graciously Gloria. Okay, so first off, what to wear on a long haul flight. I'm going to do a whole separate video on some ideas of what to wear, but for example, I'm wearing something right now, my Spanx Air Essentials. It is comfortable, soft. You really want something that you're going to feel comfortable wearing, sitting there for such a long time. And that's important. So I do love the Air Essentials. I love to dress also in layers. And so I often will wear either this as a pullover and put it like a t-shirt under that so I can take that off if I get hot, or I will wear a t-shirt with a cardigan over it. I love the Barefoot Dreams cardigan. And one of my finds this year that I'm loving this, and because it's easy just to throw on as a top layer, is this scarf. So what's great about this scarf is it's large, and so you could use this also like as a little pillow, and also like, let's say your lower back is hurting, you could stick it behind your back and that could help too. So it has like a multi-use there. And also just if you're chilly, you can just use that to warm yourself up. So it wraps around nicely. So I will just throw that on as I'm going to get on the plane and put that over me as another layer, and you have that ready to go. Several different uses for this great scarf. Next thing is there's so much noise on that plane with the sound of the engine, perhaps other people talking, and you might want to be able to try to get some rest. When I'm booking a long haul flight, I also like to consider doing a red eye. That way that I can get some sleep on my way there, and that's going to help me be energized for the next day. So to get sleep, there's a couple different things. So like I said, the sound, I like my Bose noise canceling headphones, and I prefer these. I'll show you those. I prefer these because they can fit all the way over my ears, and I find that to be more comfortable than, for example, my AirPods. But I do have the AirPods that are noise canceling, and I put those in. I usually keep those in my purse as well, and I sometimes will wear those for part of the flight and then wear these the other part, but I do find these are more comfortable to wear for more hours at a time. And again, it's going to be comfort. You can download some different things to pass the time. So if you have Netflix, you can download some different movies or episodes of shows to watch on the plane. Also, you can, I have, for example, Spotify, and I download some different music. And so I can have music to listen to as well. Some calming music. I like a relaxing piano music, like a George Winston. I find like that's like nice and calm and helps me kind of get sleepy. So again, sound, comfort, that's important. The other thing related to that is perhaps you might want to try to take like some melatonin or like a Benadryl. That might make you sleepy to actually be able to fall asleep. And then conversely, when you want to get up the next day because of jet lag, you want to consider some different tips for that. I would say my first tip is when you arrive somewhere is to actually just get going that day. Just take on that new schedule once you arrive. If it's morning, just get going like it's morning wherever you left from. Even if it's a 5-hour difference, a 3-hour difference, just take on the day and get going, and that kind of gets you into that new schedule. The other thing I really like is some jet lag tablets. These are homeopathic ones. I found these on Amazon. It gives you instructions of how to take those. So I bring those along too. These are the little tablets. I'll link those below. So we thought about what we're wearing and our sound and getting some sleep. So other things related to getting sleep are a sleep mask. I like this one. This one actually has a little spot carved out for your eye, so it's not going to get all mushy to smush your eyes, and it's nice and soft, and so you can put that over to block out the light, and that will also help you get some rest. circling back to clothing, I did forget to mention two other things related to clothing that I wanted to talk about for my long haul flight. Compression socks. So it's important to get circulation to your legs because you're going to be sitting so much. You don't want to run the risk of, for example, like blood clots. So I put on my compression socks prior to my flight. Here's a pair of mine. I have them in different colors. This white pair, I have a black pair, and a beige pair. So I will put those on prior to my flight and wear my tennis shoes and wear that throughout the whole flight. I even tend to sometimes wear it the next day when I'm sightseeing, and actually kind of helps your legs too when you're walking so much sightseeing. So, I mean, they're not the most attractive, but you're really not going to see them if you're wearing pants, for example. The other thing to note about a long haul flight is having those comfortable shoes. And so I like to wear my on clouds a lot on flights because those ones will slip on and off. And so I could just like slip those off for a little bit while I'm at my seat and then put them back on if I'm going to be standing up walking to the ladies' room. So wearing those comfortable shoes. I know some people like to pack like even just an extra pair of socks to put over or some little slippers, and they put that in their personal item. So that's an idea too that you could slip into those as you are in your chair. So what other things in your chair are you going to need for comfort? I like to have my cabin bag. So I did a whole separate video about my cabin bag, and those are my in-flight essentials. And it has things like my Kleenex, my hand cream, some medicine, um, eye drops, lip balm, things like that. So I bring my cabin bag. You can watch the whole video that I put on what's in my cabin bag. And I, again, put that at the top of my personal item bag. So once I'm on the plane, before I get, right before I get on the plane, then I'm throwing my purse in there and at the top. And then once I sit in my seat, I make sure I have my cabin bag at the top of my personal item bag. I have handy my earphones and also a few other things, my chargers. So you're going to be on that flight for a long time, so you want to make sure you don't run out of battery. And so I have my charger, the USB cord, so I can plug that in and charge. It seems like they don't want you to use that right now on takeoff or landing. And it seemed like they used to let me do that, but I feel like the last plane I was on that they have you not use the USB charger during takeoff and landing. Anyways, but you can charge during the flight. So you want to have that handy. And I keep a little charging bag in my personal item bag with my little chargers. It also has like a small portable charger, and I have another larger portable charger. And speaking of chargers, another little tip that I do before the flight, like the night before, I set a reminder on my phone to charge all my devices. So make sure my phone is charged, which I'm going to charge overnight, and charging my portable charging devices and charging my headphones. So I just put charge items, and I remember that means to charge all my different personal items there. Okay, so that's important. Have your charger. Next, because I'm menopausal, I want to make sure that I have my readers because I'm going to need those handy to read things, even looking at my phone. If you brought like a book or a magazine, so I have my readers handy and put those in one of the little pockets in my personal item bag. Hydration is another thing that's important on your long haul flight. So they are going to come around and bring you drinks, but you might be asleep one of the times they come around. So I like to have my own water bottle. You can buy one, at the airport once you get through all the security, or you can bring a refillable water bottle, and once you get through security, fill that up. So I have my refillable water bottle. Here's an example. I also have the smaller one. As I was filming, something tickled my throat. So you know what? Have my little cabin bag handy. Have some Ricola. If something tickles your throat, you have a little cough drop right there in your cabin bag. Okay, so the next thing I wanted to talk about was what about seat selection? So I tend to pick the seat that's by the window. So the window seat. I like that because if I'm trying to get some rest, which I don't have a great time sleeping on planes personally, but it gives me an opportunity to try to get some rest, is to be by the window seat to kind of cozy up next to the window and I feel like it gives me a little bit more space. I know some people prefer to have the aisle seat because they want to have easy access to get up to use the ladies' room. And so, pick your preference. Middle seat is kind of what you sometimes just end up getting, based on the availability of the plane. But it's important, like I said, to have the hydration. The second thing I related to that is what about a snack? Because more and more they serve you less food, it seems like, on the planes. Sometimes you're probably going to get a meal then on your, obviously, on your long haul flight, but on shorter flights, it's a little snack. It's like a little crackers usually of some sort, like a biscuity kind of cookie. So I like to make sure I have protein. So I will rack a protein bar. My current favorite is the Go Macro bar, lots of different yummy flavors. And so I would suggest perhaps pick a protein bar of your liking, have that handy. Also, a bag of nuts is a great protein snack, like some almonds. So I will have those in my bag, and then I can be able to eat those, or pistachios, and have those handy whenever I want to have a little snack and I'm getting hungry. So having a snack, having water is important. Also, I would say another little tip on a long haul flight is to make sure you do some stretching, because it's going to help with the aches, and you kind of feel achy sitting on a plane and kind of that confinement that I don't personally enjoy. So also do some different stretches, like some different neck stretches. Okay, even if I hear my neck crack, but do some neck stretches. Actually, holding it for like 30 seconds would be great. And then you want to do some different stretches for their shoulder shrugs. Again, sorry, you're going to hear me crack a little bit. I am getting a little older, y'all. And rolling backwards, rolling forwards. That feels so good. And I will even take my seat and kind of twist to the side. And I will twist to the other side. That feels good. Another great stretch while you're sitting there. Also take your ankles and roll them one way and roll it the other way. Can't really see what I'm doing on this video, but I've even heard people say try to make the alphabet with your foot. And so try to make an A, and then move your ankle around to make the letter B, and so forth. And that kind of sounds fun to do. So doing that, and also just as much as you can trying to get a little movement. I will even, when I'm going up to use the restroom, I will just actually stand there and do some leg stretches as well, kind of while I'm waiting off to the side if there's a little space right there. I don't care if really people see me doing some stretches. I even do that when I'm waiting for the airplane. Just figure I'm going to be sitting somewhere. I'm going to take every opportunity to do a little stretch. And that just helps you feel better, being having to sit for so long. So getting up to stretch your legs, encourage you to do that, even if you don't have to use the restroom. Just to get out of your seat and get a change of position would be helpful. A bonus tip is what to do with all your luggage when you're getting off of this long haul flight and you want to get going sightseeing. So storing your luggage at your hotel, your front desk will always be able to store your luggage, I find. And perhaps you can find out from your Airbnb if anybody's checking out, if you can drop off your luggage there. Or sometimes there's some luggage holding places. So for example, when I went to Italy, I found a place near the Trevi Fountain. I had found it ahead of time, so I knew where we would go, and had them store our luggage for us. And it literally is just like a luggage storage space. You pay per hour for them to hold your luggage while you're sightseeing. And I hope these tips for your long haul flight have been helpful to you, and you might consider incorporating them. If you have some other idea you haven't thought of, please drop them in the comments. I'd love to hear from you guys as well. And enjoy your trip. And I will link then some other videos that I think you might find helpful, including my cabin bag video, what's in my personal item bag. And this is Graciously Gloria. Please consider subscribing, and happy travels to you.